Sun High School, Chap 4, Getting a Date. Sonic did like in the first chapter and went to school again. Now it's lunchtime, and Sonic was in the lunchroom. Sonic was telling all of the people at his table who were Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Espio, who apparently is some fucking kind of rhino chameleon thing. I had to Google this before I read this because I had no idea. And Charmy Bee, which is some fucking honeybee with the helmet. I don't know what happened to the Sonic universe while I was away. But something did. About what did happen yesterday. But Tails already knew, so he was nodding his head like a good friend.
You should have seen it,
said Sonic.
I was in the haunted house and I shot Eggman, but I let him get away right before I could have killed him.
Sonic laughed. And Tails laughed. Okay, come here, cat. Are you gonna keep talking? Are you gonna keep making noises? My cat's in heat. You know what? It's better than the story. Come on, keep meowing. Meow. Meow into the microphone. You're not gonna do it now. You were scratching me just a minute ago while I was recording. Come on, talk into the microphone. I'm giving you a chance to be vocal about yourself. Tell them how much you want to have sex with other male cats. Tell them. You're not going to tell them, are you? I'm going to set you down, and 2 minutes later you're going to start doing it again. Anyway, I was reading a fan fiction. Knuckles said, "You should stop going..." Oh, sorry, I forgot Knuckles' voice because I was still angry at my cat. "You should stop going on these cool adventures because high school is more important," said Knuckles, and Sonic knew he was right because it's called Sonic High School, and it should be more about the high school part. So Sonic asked them all what they're up to.
"Well, I am entering the science competition,"
said Tails.
"To win the science competition, I have to come up with the best invention, and my invention..."
Oh my god, do you want to talk more? Come here. Talk more. Do it. Talk. Speak. Come on. Tell them.
Stop being a cat. Sit.
Be good. Be a better cat.
Stop it. Stop.
Making the face. I already had to take her bell off of her. I was reading a fan fiction.
It makes you invisible, but I can't do it right now because I have to make sure it works perfect for the science competition.
Thanks for being redundant, Tails. Tails was so smart that Sonic knew he would win the science competition because Tails is like Inistine. I'm gonna have to take a second to Google what Inistine is here. I spelled that wrong. Inistine. What is an intestine? I'm just coming up with intestines. I am just coming up with intestines. Anyway, nerd! Shout Knuckles right into Tails' ear. What a bad guy. That could really mess up his ears. You're a fucking asshole, Knuckles. I'm just hanging out and not going to class because I want to cause trouble. Unlike earlier when I said that I thought high school was important because it's not important anymore. Because now I want to be a bad dude, a real cool dude, a real chill dude. I just want to smoke weed all day and not care about school. Said Knuckles. Knuckles was so bad that he would cause trouble. Sonic thought Knuckles was a fuck. You know what? I agree with Sonic. Knuckles is a fuck. Shadow was next, and he was badder than Knuckles, but in a different way.
"I'm not going to be around much longer,"
said Knuckles. He always did, at the end of what he was saying, because it was mysterious. What he did was 3 dots, so I'm gonna go back and read that again, but I'm going to say the 3 dots because I'm guessing he wants me to be vocal about it.
"I'm not going to be around much longer.
Said Knuckles. He always did at the end of what he was saying because it was mysterious.
"Where are you going?"
said Tails because he was curious.
"I am going to kill my parents,"
said Shadow. See, this is how Shadow is worse than Knuckles. He did serious bad things. At least at the end of the day, Knuckles could sleep. Shadow was too dark for that.
"I'm going to try out for the football team,"
said Espio. Espio was athletic like Sonic, but not as fast, but he had a horn on his nose. That was good for attacking people in front of him, so Sonic thought he would be good at football. "I'm going to try out for the play," said Charmy Bee. Charmy Bee was loud and singing always. "You're an annoying fag, so you could do great." "Do not hurt my feelings," said Charmy. Charmy was used to being hectored. So I don't know what that is. Oh, heckled. Heckle. It was heckled, guys. It's heckled. So he was able to remove himself from his potent fury.
Did you see Ruga not just now?
said Espio.
She is looking so hot in her tiny bra.
Espio obviously wanted to kiss her deep,
You should ask her out.
said Sonic,
But the prom was yesterday.
said Espio.
Well, that is okay. You can date anytime.
Said Sonic.
Oh,
Said Espio.
well, then I am going to kiss and sex her tonight.
Espio was like a little boy looking at his mom's boob for the first time. Shut up, cat! My cat's being loud. I'm sorry. I apologize. It must have ruined all the quality of this video. I usually try to offer 100% quality videos, but I guess I can't do this time because my cat has ruined it for everybody. Espio was like a little boy looking at his mom's boob for the first time. Sonic and Tails together were both looking at each other and they wanted to help Espio.
We are gonna help you get a date.
Said Sonic and Tails at the same time simultaneously.
And we are gonna do it right now.
Said Sonic and Tails. They're really creepy. Sonic and Tails got up and both grabbed one of Espio's arms and dragged him across the room. Sonic did most of the dragging because he is stronger, and put him right at Rugi. What is this about? Said Rugi with a questioning sound. She blinked her eyelids quickly like a race car. What do you want? Why are you here? Espio looked right into her eyes with a passion like 100 barking dogs and said, Espio was sweating and there were drops of sweat dropping out of his hands in front of her. Said Rugen looking at Espio. Rugen gave him a sexy look that made Espio feel muff.
Please do it.
Said Sonic and Tails together at the same time. Okay, we can go on a stage tonight, said Rugi.
Sonic and Tails and Espio were stoked and high-fived right there. By the time this night ended, one of them would have done their first sex.
Now, here's the hard part.
Said Espio.
How do I put sex in her without getting in trouble?
Sonic and Tails looked at each other and thought, no, and Espio walked out while holding onto Rugi's boobies because they are now boyfriend and girlfriend and it's allowed to do it. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos. There are also things. If you want to watch more Sonic High School, please click up in the top right corner. There might or might not be, and there may be an annotation there. If you want to watch a stupid random video, just click in the top bottom left corner. I'll put something there. I don't know what. I'll just fucking surprise you. It's a mystery.